It was a cold and quiet morning in the small town of Hillside. The streets were empty, covered in a thin layer of snow, and the sky was painted with gray clouds. Most people stayed indoors, enjoying the warmth of their fireplaces and hot cocoa. But for 17-year-old Lily Thompson, today was not a day to relax. Lily lived in a small white house with her grandmother, who everyone in the town called Nana Rose. Nana Rose had taken care of Lily ever since her parents died in a car accident when she was just 5 years old. Life hadn't been easy, but they managed to get by with love, hard work, and kindness. On this particular morning, Lily had woken up early to help her grandmother shovel snow from their front steps. As she pulled on her thick wool sweater and stepped outside with a shovel in hand, a chilly wind greeted her. The snow crunched under her boots as she began working. She was halfway through clearing the path when she saw something unusual at the corner of the street. A figure was walking slowly along the road, wrapped in a thin coat that looked too light for the freezing weather. The person's shoulders were hunched, and they moved like they hadn't eaten in days. Lily paused and squinted. It was a man, tall, with messy brown hair and a beard that looked like it hadn't been trimmed in weeks. He looked tired, cold, and lost. She hesitated for a moment, unsure of what to do. People in Hillside didn't often see strangers, especially not ones who looked like that. But something in her heart told her she had to help. She dropped the shovel, stepped off the porch, and walked toward him. "Excuse me," she said gently, her breath forming white clouds in the air. "Are you okay?" The man looked up, surprised. His eyes were pale blue and full of sadness. He looked about 30 years old. For a second, he didn't say anything. Then he spoke in a soft, hoarse voice. I'm just passing through, looking for work. I don't mean to bother anyone." Lily frowned. "You look frozen. Come inside. My grandma makes really good soup. You can warm up for a bit." The man shook his head. "I don't want to be a burden." "You won't be. Just for a little while." "Please," she insisted. After a moment's pause, the man nodded slowly. "Thank you." Lily led him into their house. Nana Rose looked up in surprise when they entered, but she didn't ask questions. She just gave a small smile and went to the kitchen to heat up some chicken noodle soup. The man sat on the edge of the couch, clearly uncomfortable, but grateful. He introduced himself as Daniel. He had once worked in construction, but after his company closed, he lost his job and his apartment. Since then, he had been traveling from town to town, looking for any kind of work, sleeping in shelters or abandoned buildings. Lily listened quietly. Her heart ached for him. He didn't seem dangerous, just deeply unlucky. "You can stay here for the night," Nana Rose said kindly as she handed him a warm blanket. "It's too cold to be outside." Daniel looked like he wanted to cry. "I don't know what to say." "Say thank you," Nana Rose replied with a wink. Daniel smiled for the first time. That night, Lily lay in her bed thinking about Daniel. She didn't know much about him, but she had a feeling that something big had just started. One good turn, as Nana Rose always said, could change everything. The next morning, Daniel offered to help shovel the snow. Then he fixed a broken cabinet in the kitchen. Later, he trimmed the hedges and stacked firewood. He worked hard without being asked. Over the next few days, Daniel became part of the little home. He helped Nana Rose in the garden, repaired old furniture, and even walked Lily to school when the roads were icy. The neighbors began to notice. Mrs. Carter across the street asked him to fix her leaky roof. Mr. Jenkins, who ran the grocery store, gave him a few small jobs around the store. Daniel never asked for anything in return. He just worked hard, smiled politely, and said thank you. Soon, the people of Hillside started warming up to him. One Saturday morning, Lily and Daniel were walking to the bakery when Daniel stopped in front of the church. "I haven't been in a church in years," he said softly. "Do you want to go in?" Lily asked. He nodded. They walked in together. The old wooden pews were empty, and the smell of candles filled the air. Daniel sat quietly for a while, staring at the cross above the altar. "I used to believe things would get better," he whispered. "But I gave up after I lost everything." Lily didn't say anything. She just sat beside him, her presence like a gentle hand on his shoulder. After that day, Daniel seemed lighter. He talked more, laughed more, smiled more. A few weeks later, Mr. Jenkins offered Daniel a full-time job at the grocery store. With the money he earned, Daniel rented a small room in town. But he still visited Nana, Rose, and Lily every day, bringing fresh bread or helping with chores. Winter turned to spring, and the snow melted. The town looked alive again. Flowers bloomed, and birds sang. Hillside had a new energy, and many people said it was because of Daniel's presence. One day, as they sat on the porch drinking lemonade, Daniel turned to Lily. "You changed my life," he said. Lily shook her head. "We just gave you soup and a blanket." "No," Daniel said seriously. "You gave me hope. You made me believe again." Lily smiled. "One good turn deserves another, right?" Daniel nodded. "Right." But neither of them knew that something was coming, something that would test everything they believed in. And this time, it would be Daniel who would have to return the kindness. Spring brought warmth to Hillside. The trees grew green again, and gardens were full of blooming flowers. Children played in the parks, birds sang from rooftops, and the streets no longer felt so cold and empty. Daniel had become a part of the town now. Everyone knew him, the man who came with nothing but gave so much. He worked full-time at Mr. Jenkins' grocery store and helped the townspeople whenever they needed a hand. Some people still whispered about his past, but most accepted him with open arms. Lily admired him more and more. Though he had once been broken, he carried himself with quiet strength. She often wondered what kept him going all those hard years before he came to Hillside. One Sunday morning, Lily woke up to the smell of cinnamon rolls. Nana Rose was already in the kitchen, humming a tune as she stirred something in a large bowl. The sunlight streamed through the windows, making the little house glow with warmth and peace. "I'm going to the store to help Daniel," Lily said after breakfast. "Take him some of these rolls," Nana Rose said with a smile, wrapping 4 warm buns in foil. The grocery store was only 10 minutes away on foot. Lily walked down the road with the package in her hands, smiling at familiar faces. People waved at her: Mr. Duncan the postman, old Mrs. Lou from the flower shop, and her friend Carla riding her bicycle. But when Lily reached the store, something didn't feel right. The door was half open. Inside, the lights were off, and the bell that usually rang when the door opened didn't sound. "Daniel," Lily called out, stepping inside. No answer. She walked past the counter and into the back room. There, she saw Daniel kneeling on the floor beside a broken shelf. Cans were scattered everywhere. His shirt was torn at the shoulder, and a small cut was bleeding near his temple. "Daniel, what happened?" He looked up, surprised. "Lily? I didn't expect you so early." "You're hurt," she said, rushing over. "I'm okay," he said quickly, wiping the blood from his forehead. "Someone broke in. I think they were looking for money. Did you see them?" Daniel nodded slowly. "Yes, a man in a black hoodie. He didn't have a mask. Looked about 20, maybe younger. He pushed me down and ran off with some cash from the drawer." Lily stared at him in shock. "Did you call the police?" "I did. They're on their way." Just then, sirens were heard in the distance. Within minutes, 2 officers entered the store, and Daniel calmly explained everything. He told them what the man looked like, how much money was taken, and that he had not fought back. The officers nodded and took notes. After they left, Daniel sat on the back step, holding an ice pack to his head. Lily sat next to him. "Are you sure you're okay?" she asked softly. He nodded, though he looked shaken. Later that evening, news of the robbery spread through Hillside. People came to check on Daniel. Some brought food. Others offered help to clean up the mess. Mr. Jenkins arrived, clearly angry that someone would do such a thing to his store. "Don't worry, son," Mr. Jenkins said, patting Daniel's shoulder. "We'll get through this." "You're not alone," Daniel smiled. But Lily noticed he didn't look fully convinced. The next day, something happened that shocked everyone. 2 police cars pulled up outside the grocery store. Daniel was working the counter when the officers walked in and asked him to come outside. He followed, confused. Lily, who was there shopping with Nana Rose, stepped closer to listen. "We need you to come with us," one officer said. "Why?" Daniel asked. "Someone reported that you might be connected to the robbery." The words hit Lily like cold water. "What? That's not true." "I didn't take anything," Daniel said calmly. "I was the one who got hurt." We understand. But we received an anonymous tip. We need to ask you a few questions at the station. People gathered around, watching as Daniel was led to the police car. He didn't resist. He didn't argue. He just turned to Lily and said, "It'll be okay." The car drove away, leaving Lily standing in the street with her heart racing. Later, that evening, Nana Rose called the police station. They said Daniel was being questioned but not yet charged. Someone had accused him of faking the robbery and stealing the money himself. Lily couldn't believe it. Daniel would never do such a thing. "I have to help him," she said. The next day, she went door to door, speaking to people in the town. "He's innocent," she told Mr. Duncan. "He fixed my fence for free," she reminded Mrs. Liu. "He stayed late last week to help me stock shelves," Carla added. Soon, many people started speaking up for Daniel. They signed a letter asking the police to investigate more carefully before making any decisions. At the station, Daniel sat in a cold chair under a flickering light. He answered every question honestly. "I used to be homeless," he said. "I've made mistakes in the past, but I've never stolen from anyone." The officer studying him tapped his pen on the table. "Do you have any idea who might want to hurt you?" Daniel hesitated. Then he said, "No, I don't." But he wasn't telling them everything. A few days later, the real thief was caught trying to rob another store in a nearby town. He matched Daniel's description exactly. Young, hoodie, no mask. When questioned, he admitted to the Hillside robbery. Daniel was released that same day. When he returned to Hillside, the whole town came out to meet him. They clapped and cheered. Mr. Jenkins gave him a raise. Mrs. Carter brought cookies. Even the mayor showed up to shake his hand. Lily hugged him tightly. "I told you it would be okay," she whispered. Daniel looked around at the crowd. "I don't know what I did to deserve this kindness," he said. "You showed it first," said Nana Rose. "One good turn, remember?" Daniel nodded slowly, but his eyes were full of something deeper, worry, perhaps, or a memory that hadn't healed. As the sun set over Hillside, Daniel stood quietly in front of the grocery store, because the truth was, he had recognized the thief. It was someone from his past, someone he had once helped, and now, that past was coming back. After the arrest of the real thief, things slowly went back to normal in Hillside. Daniel returned to his job at the grocery store, and the people who had doubted him now offered twice as much kindness. Life once again felt peaceful, but deep. Inside, Daniel was not at peace. He couldn't stop thinking about the man who had robbed the store. His name was Travis. Years ago, when Daniel was homeless and sleeping under bridges in the city, Travis had been his closest friend. They had met at a shelter one rainy night, shared food, watched each other's backs, and even searched for jobs together. At the time, Daniel had trusted him more than anyone else, but Travis had taken a dark path. He got involved with drugs and petty crimes. When Daniel tried to walk away from that life, Travis accused him of being selfish and leaving him behind. They had a huge fight, and Daniel never saw him again until now. Seeing Travis again brought back memories Daniel wanted to forget. He didn't tell Lily or Nana Rose about it. He didn't tell Mr. Jenkins or the police either. He thought it was better to leave the past alone, but the past was not done with him. One evening, about 2 weeks after the robbery, Daniel stayed late at the store. Mr. Jenkins had left early, and Lily had gone home already. Daniel was just finishing stacking the new delivery of canned goods when he heard a sound behind him. Footsteps. He turned around quickly. Travis was standing there, just inside the back door of the store. Daniel's heart raced. "What are you doing here?" Travis smirked. He looked thinner than before, with dark circles under his eyes and clothes that hadn't been washed in days. "Relax, Dan," he said casually. "I'm not here to rob you again." Daniel stepped back. "You need to leave. You shouldn't be here. I just wanted to talk," Travis said, raising both hands. "I heard they let you go. Guess your little perfect town came to save you, huh?" Daniel didn't answer. "You know," Travis continued, stepping closer, "I was hoping you'd say something when they took me in. I thought maybe you'd help me." Daniel stared at him. "You robbed the store, Travis. You hurt people. I didn't owe you anything." Travis scoffed. You think you're better than me now, just because you've got a job and a town full of old people who like you. Daniel's voice was quiet but firm. I made choices, Travis. So did you. There was silence between them for a moment. Then Travis laughed bitterly. You're right. I made my choices. But you know what? I'm still out there sleeping in the cold while you're in here, playing hero. Daniel's hands curled in two fists, not in anger, but in frustration. I was where you are, he said. I was cold, hungry, and hopeless. But I changed. You can too. Travis looked at him like he'd lost his mind. You think it's that easy? You think kindness fixes everything? No, Daniel replied. But it's a start. Travis didn't reply. He just stood there staring at Daniel. For a second, something flickered in his eyes, regret, maybe, or sadness. Then he turned and walked out the door without another word. Daniel locked the door behind him and sat on a crate, breathing hard. The next day, Daniel told Lily everything about his past with Travis, the life he had before, and the visit at the store. Lily listened without judging. When he finished, she said softly, "Why didn't you tell anyone before?" "I was ashamed," Daniel admitted. "I didn't want people to think I was still connected to that world." "But you're not," she said. "You've changed. Everyone can see that." Daniel nodded slowly. That night, he couldn't sleep. He kept thinking about Travis, where he might be, what he might do next. He knew the town wouldn't be safe if Travis kept wandering nearby. But he also knew that turning him in again wouldn't help him either. The next morning, Daniel made a decision. He packed 2 sandwiches, a blanket, and a pair of clean socks. Then he walked to the edge of town, where the old train yard sat abandoned and quiet. It was the kind of place where people with nowhere to go might sleep. He found Travis there, sitting alone on the edge of a rusted freight car. Travis looked up as Daniel approached. "What do you want?" he asked. Daniel sat beside him and handed him the food. Travis hesitated, then took the sandwich. "Why are you doing this?" he asked, not looking at Daniel. "Because you were once there for me," Daniel said. "And because someone helped me when I didn't deserve it." They sat in silence for a while, eating. "You think I can fix my life?" Travis asked finally. "I think you have to want it," Daniel replied. "And you'll need help." "But yeah, I think you can. I don't even know where to start." Daniel stood and held out his hand. "Come with me." Travis looked at the hand for a long moment. Then he took it. The two of them walked back into Hillside together. When Daniel brought Travis to the house, Nana Rose opened the door, looked him over once, and said, "Another lost soul, huh? Come in, soup's on." Lily raised her eyebrows, but she didn't say anything. She just brought out another chair. Travis sat quietly, eating slowly. He seemed unsure of everything, but he didn't leave. That night, Daniel looked at the kitchen table, now crowded with people who had once been strangers, and he realized something. One good turn doesn't just change one life, it can change many. The days that followed were strange, quiet, and filled with small moments of tension. Travis had accepted Daniel's offer to stay for a while, but he didn't talk much. He kept to himself, barely spoke during meals, and always looked like he was ready to run at any second. Nana Rose didn't pressure him. She treated him like she treated everyone else, with calm kindness and no questions. Lily was more careful. She watched Travis closely, trying to understand him. Daniel, however, understood what was going on inside him. Daniel had once felt the same way. Suspicious, defensive, lost. But he also remembered how it had started to fade with time, patience, and a little bit of love. Travis slept on the couch in the living room, wrapped in a warm blanket. Every morning, he folded the blanket neatly and placed the pillow back where it belonged. He washed his own dishes and helped carry firewood from the backyard without being asked. Still, the people of Hillside were not so quick to welcome him. One afternoon, Lily and Daniel brought Travis with them to the grocery store. The moment they walked in, a hush fell over the shop. Mrs. Carter, who usually greeted Daniel with a warm smile, simply nodded and turned away. Mr. Jenkins, standing behind the counter, glanced at Travis and then looked back at the shelves. Others whispered. Some frowned. Travis noticed it all. "Let's just go," he muttered under his breath. "No, Daniel said firmly. You're not a ghost. You're not invisible. You're trying to change. And that counts. Travis stayed silent, but he followed them through the store, helping carry the items Lily picked out. When they reached the counter, Mr. Jenkins finally spoke. He's staying with you? He asked Daniel. Yes. Daniel said. Mr. Jenkins paused. You sure about that? I was where he is. Daniel replied. People gave me a chance, Mr. Jenkins looked at Travis. One mistake is one thing. Two. Well, that's harder to forget. I'm not asking anyone to forget. Travis said quietly. I'm just trying to be better. The honesty in his voice surprised everyone. Even Daniel. Mr. Jenkins said. Nothing else. He packed their groceries and handed Daniel the bag. That evening, while they ate dinner, Nana Rose told a story. When I was younger, she said, sipping her tea, I once stole a pie from the bakery. Lily laughed. You? Oh yes. Nana Rose nodded. I was hungry, and I didn't have money. The owner caught me, but instead of calling the police, he asked me to work in his kitchen. I washed dishes for a week. Then he gave me a warm meal and told me to come back anytime, not to steal, but to work. What happened to him? Daniel asked. He passed away years ago, she said softly, but I never forgot him. He gave me a second chance when I didn't deserve it. She looked at Travis, her eyes gentle. We all have something we regret. What matters is what we do next. The next day, Daniel had an idea. He spoke to Mr. Jenkins and asked if Travis could help at the store unpaid. Just a few hours a day. Mr. Jenkins was hesitant. Let him try once, Daniel said. If he messes up, he's out. Fine. Mr. Jenkins agreed. One chance. When Daniel told Travis, the younger men looked shocked. You trust me with this? It's not about trust, Daniel said. It's about effort. Prove you want to change. Travis nodded. I'll try. That afternoon, Travis showed up on time and helped unload boxes from the delivery truck. He mopped the floors, restocked shelves, and swept the sidewalk outside. He didn't complain. He didn't slack off. By the end of the day, Mr. Jenkins said nothing, but he gave him a bottle of soda and nodded once. It was a start. As the weeks passed, Travis began to change slowly, but clearly. He smiled more. He asked questions. He even helped Mrs. Liu carry her groceries without being asked. The people of Hillside still looked at him with doubt, but some started to warm up. One day, Lily overheard two women at the bakery whispering, "That's the boy who robbed the store." One said, "Yes, but he's helping now," the other replied, "and Daniel trusts him." It wasn't full approval, but it was something. Then, one morning, trouble returned. Daniel got a call from a police officer in the next town. Travis had been reported as a suspect in another break-in, something that had happened months ago. Before he came to Hillside, the officer explained that there wasn't much evidence, but Travis' name had been mentioned. Daniel sat Travis down that night and told him everything. Travis lowered his head. I did it. Daniel's heart sank. You broken? Travis nodded. It was before I came here. I needed food. I was angry. I didn't know what else to do. You should have told me. I thought it was behind me, Travis said. I didn't think they'd come after me now. Daniel ran a hand through his hair. We have to go to the station. Travis nodded again. I know. That evening, they drove to the police station together. Lily and Nana Rose came along, waiting quietly in the car. Travis walked inside with Daniel and confessed. The officer listened, took notes and asked questions. But because Travis had already changed his path and the store in the next town hadn't pressed serious charges, the officer decided to let him go with a warning and a record of the confession. Back in the car, Travis looked out the window. I should leave, he said quietly. I don't want to cause more problems here. Nana Rose turned around in her seat. If running was the answer, you'd have fixed your life a long time ago. Lily added, you're not the same person you were months ago. You're part of our story now, Daniel said. Stay. Travis didn't reply, but his eyes were wet. The next day, Mr. Jenkins gave him a surprise. I need someone part-time. At the store, he said. It's not much, but if you want it, it's yours. Travis blinked. Really? Don't prove me wrong, Mr. Jenkins warned. I won't. Travis whispered. Travis started work officially that week. Every morning, he arrived before Daniel. Every evening, he left after cleaning up everything he could. Slowly, day by day, the people of Hillside began to see something different in him. He wasn't just a boy who made a mistake. He was someone who was trying to change, and that made all the difference. But life had one more test waiting for them, one that would put everything they believed about kindness, trust, and second chances to the ultimate test. Summer came to Hillside with warm sunshine, green fields, and bright skies. The air was filled with the scent of blooming flowers and the laughter of children playing outside. For the first time in a long while, everything felt truly peaceful. Travis was now working part-time at the grocery store and spending the rest of his day helping Mr. Duncan at the post office or assisting elderly neighbors with small tasks. His hands were no longer shaky, his face looked cleaner, and the haunted look in his eyes had begun to fade. Though some people in Hillside still didn't trust him completely, many now nodded politely when they passed him on the street. A few even said hello. It wasn't perfect, but it was progress. Daniel, Lily, and Nana Rose were proud of him. "You're like a new person," Lily said one afternoon as they painted the old picket fence in front of the house. "I'm trying to be," Travis said, "but sometimes I still feel like I'm wearing someone else's shoes." "You're not," Nana Rose said as she brought out lemonade. "You just finally found the right pair." Everyone laughed. Then one Saturday morning, something happened that none of them saw coming. It began like any other day. Travis was helping Mr. Jenkins unloaded crates behind the store when they heard shouting from the street. "Help! Thief! Stop him!" Daniel, who was inside organizing the shelves, ran out. A teenage boy was sprinting down the street, clutching a woman's handbag. The woman, Mrs. Carter, was limping after him, clearly in pain from falling. Without thinking, Travis dropped the box he was carrying and took off after the boy. The crowd watched in shock. The boy ran fast, weaving between carts and bicycles, but Travis was faster. In less than a minute, he caught up with him near the park and tackled him to the ground. "Let go of the bag," Travis ordered. The boy stared at him with wild eyes, breathing hard. He looked no older than 14, skinny, scared, and hungry. "I just needed the money," he cried. "Please, please let me go." Travis hesitated. He looked at the boy, and it was like looking into a mirror of his past: cold nights, an empty stomach, and desperate choices. Daniel caught up, panting. "Are you okay?" Travis nodded and handed the bag back to Mrs. Carter, who had just arrived with Lily. "Thank you," she said, her eyes wide. You saved me." Travis didn't reply. He just turned to the boy, still on the ground. "What's your name?" he asked gently. "Kevin." The boy whispered. "You have somewhere to go, Kevin?" The boy shook his head. Just then, a police car pulled up. An officer stepped out and walked toward them. "This is the boy?" he asked. "Yes," said Mrs. Carter. "He took my bag." The officer grabbed Kevin's arm and pulled him up. "Wait," Travis said. "He didn't hurt anyone. Maybe he just needs help." The officer raised an eyebrow. "Are you serious? You want to defend a thief?" "I'm not defending what he did," Travis replied. "But I know what it feels like to have nothing. He's just a kid." The officer looked at Daniel. "He's with you?" Daniel stepped forward. "Yes, and he's telling the truth. Let's not lock up another life if we can save it instead." The officer sighed. "All right, I'll take him to the station, but I'll talk to the chief about finding a shelter or a youth program." As Kevin was led away, he looked back at Travis with tears in his eyes. "Thank you," he whispered. That night, the town was buzzing with talk. Travis caught a thief. He protected Mrs. Carter. Maybe he really has changed. At dinner, Travis was unusually quiet. "Are you okay?" Lily asked. "I saw myself in that boy," he said, "and I thought, if no one had helped me, I might have ended up worse than him." "You helped him," Nana Rose said. "That's the point." Daniel nodded. "You gave him something most people don't get: understanding." A few days later, the police officer came to visit. "I thought you should know," he told them. "Kevin's being placed in a youth home. He'll get counseling, school, and meals. He even asked if you could visit him sometime." Travis smiled softly. "I'd like that, by the end of summer." Hillside had truly changed, and not just because of the weather. The people had seen what second chances could do. They had seen a man fall and rise, not just once, but over and over again. They saw the way Daniel believed in kindness, the way Lily never gave up, and the way Nana Rose turned her home into a shelter for the heart. Travis was no longer just a boy who made mistakes. He was Travis, the helper at the grocery store. The boy who stopped a thief, the one who smiled when he swept the porch, and the one who walked the kids home from school. One evening, during the town's end of summer festival, the mayor stood on the wooden stage and held up a small medal. This is for someone who showed us that no one is beyond hope, that kindness can change a life, and that one good turn truly does lead to another. He called Travis to the stage. The crowd clapped loudly. Some people whistled. Others stood to cheer. Travis walked up slowly, still not believing it. When the mayor placed a medal around his neck, he looked out at the people who once feared him, people who had doubted him, and now, people who respected him. He saw Daniel smiling proudly, Lily clapping beside Nana Rose, and for the first time in his life, Travis felt like he truly belonged. Later that night, as fireworks lit up the sky, Daniel sat beside Lily on a bench near the park. "You see," Lily said, resting her head on his shoulder. "One small act of kindness." Daniel smiled. "One good turn." They watched the lights in the sky, their hearts full, and somewhere nearby, in a little white house, Nana Rose sat by the window with a cup of tea, smiling at the world she helped shape one person at a time. The end. Don't forget to like, comment, and share.